What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more of the Offspring. And even though I haven't finished every song, or rather reacted to every song from Ignition and Smash, I did want to go to one of the tunes included on the Greatest Hits album, provided by Yvonne, big shout out to you, which is All I Want. Now, there's two things to say about this. Number one, it's, I believe, on Ixnay on the Ombre, an album I never owned, but I heard it a whole lot back in the day, which is further to say this song was used as one of the tracks on the soundtrack of, and sort of in a way, the lead song from the soundtrack for Crazy Taxi, which is a video game. It was on, I think, multiple systems. I think it was in the arcade as well. But yeah, I had it for the Sega Dreamcast, and my friend and I, we used to play it relentlessly because it was a very fun and addictive sort of game. And it had a good soundtrack. It had tunes from a number of punk bands, and this track played in like the main menu screen and perhaps was in the song loop during the game more than any of the other tunes. Now, there was a Bad Religion tune in there. I remember 10 at 2010 was on the soundtrack, so yes, I'm hugely fond of it. The second thing to say is I remember back then looking into this song because, again, I had followed Offspring for a little while, but by the time this album came out, I think Ixnay on the Ombre was 97, I hadn't been following them as closely, and then by the time it was on the soundtrack to Crazy Taxi, I think it was the early 2000s. In any case, I remember looking it up and discovering that apparently Dexter Holland wrote the song as part of like a Bad Religion songwriting contest, and originally it had very, complex phrasing, the way a lot of Bad Religion songs do. But I guess Brett Gurewitz of Bad Religion and also the main guy at Epitaph Records, my understanding is that he was sort of like, maybe you could use it for an acoustic song or something like that. And I think Dexter Holland, songwriter, lead singer of Offspring, to my understanding, if I'm remembering this right, was a bit like, he was sort of disappointed. He's like, you know what, I'm just going to rewrite it less in the Bad Religion style and more in the Offspring style. And then eventually it was a tune, as I said, that landed on their Ixnay on the Ombre album. In any case, it's like classic Offspring to me. It just has that energetic sound. It's got Dexter's, very identifiable and characteristic vocals, and the ya phrasing in the, I don't know if it's the chorus or if it's just like a refrain, but it starts the song and you hear it multiple times. It's just classic Offspring to me, and of course it does make me think of playing Crazy Taxi. So, yeah, my memory of the lyrics is that it's essentially the idea that, you try to follow other people's rules, you try to do things the way you're supposed to, and still they breathe down your neck, still they, they're not flexible and they don't work with you, and so he's essentially saying all he wants is to get out of that, so back off your rules, back off your jive, I forget what the phrase is, but essentially it's the idea of, wanting to chart your own path and to make other people have to adapt to the way you want to do things rather than always trying to do it the other way around and still not getting any credit for it or still not being given any freedom. So maybe I'm misremembering the essence of the themes here, but that's my recollection. Let's give it a listen. This is The Offspring and the song is All I Want, originally from Ixnay on the Ombre, though once again we are hearing it here as part of their Greatest Hits compilation.
Okay. Yeah. Day after day, your life's a wreck. The powers that be just bring down the edge. You get no respect. You can never leave. You gotta speak up and yell out your creed. So back up your rules, back up your job, 'cause I'm sick of not living to stay alive. Leave me alone. I feel like I don't wanna be controlled. It's all I want. It's all I want. It's all I want. It's all I want.
to say, let's go make some crazy money. It really just does make me think of Crazy Taxi a great deal, because again, my friend and I, one friend in particular, we played it all the time, and this song, as I said, is sort of the main song in a very good soundtrack overall. And yeah, ultimately, again, it's got all the hallmarks of Offspring material from the albums before this. Smash, I think, was 95, maybe 94. I think Ignition was like 92 or 93. So yeah, this, I'm guessing, had I bought Ixnay on the Ombre back in the day, I would have enjoyed it just as much. But as I said, for whatever reason, I had kind of like not been following them as closely. And yeah, this tune is fantastic. It's fast, it's rocking. I forgot that dynamic where like there's a line with Dexter's true vocals, and then the second line will have that kind of like megaphone effect where it has like this like filter on it. And so there's like multiple points throughout the song where it's like there's that tandem where it's like a true vocal line and then a vocal line with an effect on it, and that gives it a bit of a like call and response or dialogue type of sound to it. But yeah, again, catching some of the lines there about, again, the powers that be breathing down your neck and so on, it feels like it is very much about, just forgetting the pretenses of, trying to be a certain way, or, getting rid of other people's rules, and all he wants is to be able to live the way he wants to live. And again, if other people have to deal with his rules for a while, it seems like, he thinks that's more than fair. In any case, yeah, it's classic Offspring, really, really good tune. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.